Welcome to this next session of Harbour Port Engineering. As we are continuing with chapter number 4, we have discussed about breakwater and further we will be continuing in that topic itself because that topic of breakwater is a lengthy topic. It is also a very important topic. So now we will be continuing with the further topics of breakwater. So let's begin with this session. So in today's session, the first topic which we will be covering are the types of breakwater. Now this is a very important topic from exam point of view. So please keep focus in this session and in this topic. So basically the types of breakwater indicates that which are the various other categories by which a breakwater is constructed or what are the various classifications of breakwater. So it basically includes three types, that is the vertical wall type breakwater, rubble mound type breakwater and composite type breakwater. So basically the vertical wall is the masonry construction, rubble mound is constructed of unfinished stones and composite type is a combination of both these types. So we will be discussing one by one all these three types of breakwater in the upcoming slides. So first of all, let us begin with the vertical wall type breakwater. Here this is a masonry construction. So this is the sketch representing the vertical wall type breakwater. We are already aware that breakwater is on the circumference or periphery of harbour. We are aware about its function or use. Now we are studying which are the various constituents by which that breakwater can be constructed. Also we know that ultimately the load or the forces which we have studied in the previous session, the various pi forces which are acting on the breakwater will be ultimately transferred to the seabed. So in the bottommost portion, the seabed is ultimately the foundation where the total load will be transferred. Also the self-fed of the breakwater will be transferred. This is a masonry construction as I told, so constructed of bricks, that is a vertical wall type breakwater. Low tide and high tide, that is this is the tidal range, that is the minimum height which will exist for tide and the maximum height which will exist for the tide. So this indicates the tidal range between which the level of water will fluctuate. Sea phase has been shown. So basically this is a vertical wall, that is the masonry construction. Brick construction is done on the periphery or circumference of the harbour to satisfy its function or use of dissipating or reducing the wave and wind energy. Now one important point which we have to understand here is regarding the dissipation of energy. What happens here is that the wave or wind energy will exert force on the face of this breakwater. So the wind or wave energy will dash with this face of breakwater. Repeating again, what happens here is that the bricks have been laid and sort of wall has been formed. The wave and wind are imparting force on this face, and what the breakwater is supposed to do? It is supposed to reduce this force. The reason is that the force is reduced on this circumference and so the water will remain in calm state in the harbour itself. The thing which occurs here is that there is no existence of any voids or any empty space while we are constructing this wall. Repeating again, there is no existence of any voids or any empty space while we are constructing this vertical wall. So the waves which are being incident on this wall will impart force on this wall and will get reflected back without very high dissipation of energy or with very low dissipation of energy. Why? Because for dissipating energy one needs to have voids or empty space through which the water can pass, waves can pass, they can dash and can dissipate their energy. But here there is no existence of any voids. Repeating again, how the energy will be dissipated? If there is existence of voids or empty spaces. Through those spaces the water will pass, it will dash, and through that the energy will get dissipated. But here there is no existence of any voids, so the water will be incident here, and without much dissipation of energy or with negligible dissipation of energy, it will again be reflected back towards the water body. This is a very important point to be kept in mind, because we will be using this point while we will be creating sort of or understanding the differences between various types of breakwater. So we need to understand the reason why there is not much high dissipation of wave energy in vertical wall type breakwater. The reason is non-existence of any voids through which water will not pass. So I hope that point is clear. Next, in which case is this breakwater suitable? So it is suitable in the following situations where depth of water is more than 2 times the maximum height of waves. So we already have the data of height of waves. So when the depth of water is 2 times this height, in that situation this will be useful. Next, when sea bed is non-erodible. Why? Because ultimately as the load is transferred on the sea bed, so if the sea bed is erodible, then that load transfer of the breakwater, that is through the masonry construction to the sea bed, will sort of create a probability of failure if the sea bed is erodible, because ultimately the masonry construction will transfer the load on the sea bed. So it should be non-erodible, where there are no chances of differential settlement of foundation. Now, in the case where there is differential settlement of foundation, it means that, say for example, whatever the extent or the periphery of breakwater is, in some cases the settlement might be more, in some cases there might be no settlement, in some cases there might be little settlement. So, as this is a masonry construction, if there is any differential settlement as such which is varying on the periphery or circumference, then that might create a failure. So, in that situation, we have to make sure that wherever we are suggesting the vertical wall type breakwater, there is no such any chance of differential settlement of soil. Next is the rubble mound type breakwater. First of all, let us understand the meaning of the words. Mount means to protect. Now, I will come back to the point why the word to protect has been used. And rubble means sort of unfinished stones. So, rubble and mound, we have understood the meaning. Unfinished stones, irregular stones, or mound means to protect. Now, this is an image for rubble mound type breakwater. Here, there are 3 different layers. At the center is core. Core word we are aware about, which is the innermost part. There we use the word core. Next, these are the rubbles which have been placed in layer 2. This is the layer 2. Rubbles of small sizes have been placed, and on the top, rubbles of higher size have been placed. So there are 3 layers. Topmost is the rubble of higher sizes. Second is the rubble of lower sizes, and innermost is the core, which is constructed of soil. Here, as the word mound has been used, which is to protect. So basically, this sort of sketch represents that the core is being protected. So that is why the word mound has been used. That is sort of a protection has been given to the core or to the innermost part from being eroded. So because if it is eroded, then ultimately failure will occur. So due to that reason, the word mound has been used. Now let us learn regarding the quality of these various 3 categories. The topmost layer is of category A or class A. Second is of class or category B, and innermost is of class or category C. Now what are these various classes or categories? A indicates that it is of highest quality, B indicates that it is of intermediate quality, and C indicates that it is of lowest quality. The reason for keeping the topmost layer of the highest quality is that, as we know, the function of breakwater, I have already repeated many a times. So the ultimate function of breakwater will be done by the topmost layer or the higher sized rubbles. Repeating again, the reason of bifurcating these various classes. Class A is the topmost layer. The reason is that the function of breakwater will be performed by this topmost layer. As it will reduce or dissipate the energy, its own durability will be reduced, as this point I have already discussed. So it has to be capable of sustaining that impact of waves or winds. So the highest quality material is needed in the topmost part. If the lowest quality is used in the topmost part, no dissipation of energy will occur, and ultimately the harbor will get affected. So to satisfy the purpose, the highest quality will perform the main function or main use. Clear? Okay. Next is the intermediate layer, that is the small sized rubbles. They will sort of provide a base layer for laying the topmost layer. So they might not function they might not do the main function of breakwater, that is dissipation of energy, but they act as a base layer, as a supportive layer for the topmost layer. So that is the intermediate layer. It will protect the core or the soil. And class 3C, that is the lowest quality, is core. The reason for it is that it does not have to perform any function of breakwater. It just has to provide a volume on which the rubbles has to be laid. Repeating again, the lowest quality material is used in core, that is in the soil part. Why? Because it does not has to perform any function of wave energy dissipation. It just has to provide a layer or a volume over which the rubble has to be laid. So providing highest quality material here is of no use. Why? Because it does not has to perform any function. Function has to be done by the topmost layer, which will be in constant contact with the waves. So it is of highest quality, and this is of lowest quality, because it is only providing a layer for the placing of rubbles, and the intermediate quality is in the center region. So here even the soil, which is sort of a wastage or the waste soil, can also be used here for filling purpose. Again, why we can't interchange the first and second layer? Because if we are placing the larger size rubbles in the second layer and the smallest size rubbles on the top of it, then anyways they will seep through the higher size rubble because the voids are more. So repeating again the point, why haven't we interchanged the layer, topmost layer and the intermediate layer? Because if in the intermediate layer the higher size rubbles are placed, and if on top of it smaller size rubble can't be placed, why? Because they will seep through the voids. As you can see that there is existence of these various voids, that is the empty space, so that is not possible. So this is the various layers of rubble mount type breakwater. In the previous type, we discussed a point regarding the dissipation of energy. Now here, we will discuss the same point as to why here the energy will be dissipated. In the vertical wall type breakwater, I told that there will be no dissipation of energy because there is no voids, no empty space through which the water can move. So there is no sort of releasement of any energy, and the wave energy will just be reflected backwards. But as we can see here that there are existence of voids. So what will happen is that the waves will pass through these voids. They will dash with these rubbles, or they will impart the force of these rubbles, and ultimately the energy will be released, and so the dissipation or mitigation of wave energy will take place, and this is how the functioning of this breakwater will be done. Repeating again, as there is existence of voids or empty spaces, the wave energy will, or the waves will pass through, will seep through these voids. They will dash with the rubble, apply forces on rubble, and will release energy, and in this manner the sort of dissipation or mitigation of high energy of waves will take place, and the functioning of breakwater will be done. So this is the main difference regarding the functioning of these two breakwaters. I hope this point is clear. And another point is that in the topmost layer, even sometimes heavy blocks can be placed as well. So regarding the rubble mountain breakwater, material, that is natural rocks, can be used, concrete blocks or combination, both can be used. Tetrapods and tribars, I will be coming to this point in the upcoming slides. We'll be learning about this in a bit detail, so that I will be teaching at that point. But basically these are the materials, that is rock can be used, or blocks, or combination of both, while we are sort of constructing the top layer and the intermediate layer. For durable rock foundation, rock mount breakwaters are preferred. That is, so for the rock foundation which will be able to sustain more load, the layers can be constructed of rock as well. So because ultimately the foundation will be able to handle that much load. So next, the three layers which we have already seen in the previous sketch. Core consisting of quarry waste, that is waste soil can be used in the innermost portion. Intermediate layer used for protecting the slope, for protecting the core, and consist of rubble stones. Top layer, it can consist of upper, that is the uppermost portion, may be consisted of heavy blocks or large size rubbles. Third type is the composite breakwater. Now, as the word composite is used, it will be a combination of properties of both the previous types of breakwater. This is the sketch for composite type breakwater. Seabed, that is ultimately where the load will be transferred. The bottom portion consists of rubble masonry. So here the rubbles, that is the unfinished stones of larger sizes, will be placed. That is, it will be the bottom portion, and the top portion will consist of masonry wall construction over this beneath layer. High tide and low tide, that is the lowest level of tide, the highest level of tide, which indicates the tidal range between which the level of tides will fluctuate. So basically here it is a combination of materials of vertical wall type breakwater, that is first masonry wall, and also of rubble mount type breakwater, as rubbles, that is the large size rubbles, have been used in the beneath portion. It is basically recommended where the depth of water is more, because there are construction of two separate layers. So that is the main criteria, that where depth of water is more, in that case composite breakwater is recommended. So let us learn a few features regarding the composite breakwater. Rubble base, that is the bottom portion over which the vertical wall is constructed. So the seabed soil, that is the foundation. This is the rubble mound, which is the lower portion, and above which is the masonry construction. So combination of both the types. Combination of mound and vertical wall type breakwater, as we have seen, and now we are clear about it. Recommended in location where depth of water is great, as I told in the previous slide, and foundation is of weak material, because basically here, as mounds are existing in the beneath layer, that is the bottom layer, so wherever there is sort of the foundation is of weak material, even though because of existence of this beneath layer, the sort of breakwater can be kept in a stable situation. Depth of water where it is greater than 30 meter, in that situation this composite type of breakwater is recommended. So situation where weak material is available as a foundation material, in that this both the properties can be combined. Next is important topic, that is comparison between the mount type or rubble mount type breakwater and vertical wall type breakwater. So now let us understand the differences. The first point is regarding the breaking of wave energy. So wave energy will break or dissipate in this case, and here the wave energy will be reflected. I already explained this point in detail when we have seen the sketches of both these types. Large entrance in case of mount type and narrow entrance in case of vertical type. The reason being that here, as the energy of wave is getting dissipated, so if large entrance is there, then that might not be an issue. But here, as the wave energy isn't getting dissipated, only it is getting reflected. So if larger entrance is provided, then that might cause an issue while the operations are being carried out in the harbor. So that is the reason regarding the entrances. Regular maintenance is needed, while here the maintenance is practically eliminated. Why? Because here, as the wave energy will get dissipated, so the durability of the breakwater will itself get reduced, and so as the durability will get reduced, they will need to be replaced, and so the maintenance will be more. Here, as there is no dissipation, only the energy is getting reflected, so there is no reduction in the durability, and so there is no such need of high maintenance. Can be constructed on any type of foundation, while here it requires a firm foundation. Why? Because the high load of the masonry construction has to be transferred to the seabed, and seabed should be capable of taking that load. While here only the rubbles are being dispersed in two layers, so the transfer of load from the top layer it is passed to the intermediate layer, and easily the intermediate layer transfers it on the core. Also, the load transfer mechanism is different in both these cases because this is a masonry construction. Here there are three different layers, so the load transfer is not as stringent in this case, that is in mount type case, as it is in the vertical wall type breakwater case. So that foundation will be a restriction in case of vertical wall type breakwater. Recommended where plenty of rocks are available. Why? Because those rocks can be used in the construction itself in sort of case of the rubble. So that is an advantage. When there is shortage of rock, in that situation vertical wall type breakwater can be used, because there is no such need of any rock for construction. Requires unskilled labor, and skilled labor is required in vertical wall. Why? Because the alignment has to be seen, the bricks has to be laid according to the slope, according to the height. That is not an easy construction of masonry in the specific depth in the water body. So that will require a skill. Here unskilled labor. Why? Because only the rubbles have to be dispatched on the core, that is the small size rubble, and over it the larger size rubbles or rocks have to be dispatched. So there is no such any, we have to see the alignment of rubbles, which we have to see in case of bricks, because they are laid randomly, so that is not requiring any skill for labor. So these are the various differences. I hope the points are clear, and this is an important question from exam point of view. Next are the merits and demerits of mount type breakwater. So first of all, let us talk about the merits. Doesn't require any special equipment. Why? Because here the rubbles, rocks are laid in a haphazard manner, in an irregular manner. So there is no such need of any special equipment, because they have to be just laid on the core. Unskilled labor, this point we have discussed in the difference itself, because there is no such specific positioning of one rubble over other or sideways. The rubbles are irregular, and they are just placed one above the another, so eliminating high skill of labor. Large size rubble can be used without dressing, because here as we are using unfinished rubbles, so there is no such need of any dressing. Construction on any type of foundation, as we discussed that the load transfer mechanism is not that much stringent, because there are three layers, so that load transfer mechanism takes place in phase by phase manner, and ultimately there is core in the innermost portion. So even a not very firm foundation can be capable here for construction of mount type breakwater. Construction is porous, it's no possibility of uplift. As it is porous, that is voids are existing, empty space are existing, so there is no such possibility of any uplift due to the existence of the empty space here which exists between the rubbles. Demerits of mount type breakwater, that is it will require high quantity of material, that are the rubbles which are being placed or rock if they are being used, they will be needed in high amount while placing them in the topmost and the intermediate layer. Initial cost will be high, because if the rubbles or rocks are not available nearby, and also the quantity needed for the rubble or rock are high in this case, so that might create an issue in the cost for construction. Regular maintenance, this point we have already discussed regarding the durability. Next topic is the merits of wall type breakwater. So what are the advantages? Recommended where shortage of rock exists, because here there is no such any need of rocks. So at the particular site in the vicinity, if rock is not available, then this type of breakwater can be used. Maintenance is eliminated. Already this point is discussed in the difference slide regarding the durability. That is, the durability here is not reduced highly, so maintenance is also practically eliminated. Reduces the amount of material, so there are no such higher or more amount of different materials needed. Only this is a masonry construction, and moreover there is no such different layer, that is intermediate layer or top layer, which was in case of mount type breakwater. There is simple construction of wall, so it will reduce the amount of material, as was not in the case of mount type breakwater. Next are the demerits of wall type breakwater, that is, what are the disadvantages. Skilled labor point already discussed in the difference portion. Repairing is difficult. Now here, as this is a masonry construction, sort of a specific area is sort of needing maintenance work, then that would be difficult as compared to the mount type breakwater, because replacing bricks in such a water body construction is not as easy as replacing the rubbles or the stones, higher size stones. So that repairing portion regarding the masonry construction in this situation will be a tough task as compared to replacing the rubbles or stones in the mount type breakwater. Requires a firm foundation, also this point has been already discussed.